Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to do a video out on the trail after my run, and I want to talk about why men and women have lost a lot of interest in each other. Number one is a video I made last night. It was kind of long and rambly, but basically I was saying in that video that men and women don't need each other anymore in the way that they did until like 30 years ago. Until 30 years ago, we had a very strong division of labor, and that's kind of gone. Women are now out-graduating men in college. Women are out-earning men. Women make their own money. So men do their own cleaning and cooking. And so we don't need each other anymore to go through life. I suppose for financial benefit, because the cost of housing is so high, people could benefit from having roommates, so maybe they're getting roommates. So that's one factor, because in the past, before we had the idea of romance and falling in love, marriage was based on us needing each other. The men were usually out working or doing more kind of like risk-taking work, even before the Industrial Revolution, and women would do more like the cooking, the gathering, the nuts and foods. They gathered food. Most of the food was actually gathered by women. They took care of the children. And then later on they made things, baskets, rugs, sold them in the markets. And now everyone's making baskets and rugs. We have lost a lot of the jobs that made men masculine. You know, everybody's now weaving baskets, sitting in chairs in the office. So we don't need each other. And that kind of goes to my second point, is that our modern society has taken us so far away from the basic animal roles where men could really build and showcase their masculinity, which is very attractive to women. Women look for signs of physical, mental, and emotional health to be attracted to a man. This is explained in the book Mate, which is written by evolutionary psychologist Jeffrey Miller and Tucker Max, who used to be like a big player, and now he lives in Texas with his wife and 3 kids, and they're doing like a Waldorf school. Like he's like, I don't want to be a player anymore. I want a real life. But anyway, in the book, which is a really good book I often recommend to people, it explains what women look for in men. Women look for men who are effective and safe and competent. I think those are the 3 words they use. They also talk about signs of physical, mental, and emotional health. And that kind of goes to another point I made where I call men either insignificant, like men that don't enter my sphere at all. They're insignificant, I don't notice them. Men who are liability because they are entering my sphere and trying to get my attention, and they are doing it in a very, very, very bad way of showing a lot of signs of unhealth. And then there are men who are contribution, who do show signs of physical, mental, and emotional health. Our modern society has taken away a lot of what men need to develop into good masculine men, especially in the cities, especially when men are taught that their masculinity is toxic. Me too, at least men that I see online talking about, I can't talk to a woman, it's harassment. You've been sissified. You're a basket weaver now. You know, men who were told to wear a face diaper, sissified, as opposed to the truckers in Canada who got the vaccines. They were just against the mandates. So what are signs of physical, mental, and emotional health? If a man doesn't have that, he is insignificant or he's a liability. Physical health, you can lift heavy shit. You know, you wake up in the morning and you're in a good mood. You have good energy. You get up early with the sun. You get things done. You're friendly with other people. Men have a lot of qualities that women don't have, okay? So before you go like, oh, us poor men, you know, we have it so hard. Well, you're given a stronger body. You're physically stronger than I am. You also have testosterone, and you have some differences in your brain and muscle fibers. And this makes you much more interested in taking risks, challenging yourself, going on an adventure. If you look at the jobs if you look at deaths by occupation, most of the deaths at work are men dying at work because they take the risky jobs. All of what we have is built by men. The dams, canals, the cars, the construction workers. Men are the plumbers, the electricians. They do the gardening. They do the physical labor, the hunting. They're the military. Men are the foundation and the backbone of our society. They build things, they create things, they discover things. It wasn't a woman who discovered new lands. It was always men who discovered new lands. They like that and they thrive on it. A healthy man thrives on challenge. He wants to overcome something. He wants to reach a goal. A healthy man thrives on challenge, and that's what makes him attractive to a woman. Okay, now modern society has made it so that men are not taught this, and they're not given the opportunity to challenge themselves. They're told to sit in classrooms, behave, don't question the teacher, go work in your little office or in your little factory, do what you're told, collect your paycheck, don't make a fuss. And if you talk to women, you're told that your masculinity is toxic. They got rid of the Boy Scouts, which was a place for boys to learn how to do what was left of being a man in this world. Pitch a tent, build a fire, read a compass, find your way out of the wilderness. That's gone. Now they have girls in there also. A lot of people are not told that you don't need a man. Gloria Steinem started this, you don't need a man. Well, you don't need a man to support yourself, but telling people you don't need a man has made men, who are the foundation of our society, seem very insignificant. That's a huge mistake. We definitely need men. And telling men that they're not needed is a feminism, a toxic femininity. Okay, me too. These women should say me too. I have been brainwashed by toxic femininity. Men used to have their own spaces. That's kind of gone. And even in schools, they've taken away all this recess. When boys want to play fight, they're told, put those sticks away. It takes a lot of effort for women anymore to raise a man. They started in the 80s in this TV show. There was a woman, Murray Brown, like she was a news anchor on the sitcom. It was a huge scandal when she, as a single woman, career woman, appeared one day on the show with a big belly, announcing she was pregnant and she was going to raise this baby by herself. And since then, we have seen more and more women say, I'm going to have a baby on my own. And men who get women pregnant often don't want to marry them or just leave them. It used to be, when I was younger, that if you got a woman pregnant, you would marry her. So now we have a lot of children growing up without fathers. Another change is, it used to be that men could fix cars. They would learn how to work on house projects. You know, like my ex-husband, he learned how to do house projects from his dad. He could fix anything around the house, okay? Almost anything. And he did the lawn work. I helped with the lawn work. And he also would fix our cars. He would change the oil, change tires, change brake pads. There were other things he could fix, not everything. But it's harder for men to fix cars now because they're so electronic and you need special equipment to fix those cars. And it's harder for men to work on house projects when so few people can buy a house. People also had to cook. Now you can just order groceries in, you can order DoorDash. And it's easier to become lazy. I think people at night, you used to watch TV, but now you have video games and you have porn. And for all these factors, I think that our society has a lot of things in it that have made men less attractive to women. Because to the extent that men are not able to build a campfire and showcase their masculine abilities, hunting, fixing a car, fixing a house, they're not able to add to a woman's life because we can make our own money. The things that make a man, wearing some cologne, wearing a dress shirt, that's all gone out the window. They have tried to make us all the same. You know, is that some kind of global agenda, or is this proper human evolution, making us all the same? Like, how can I be attracted to a man who is sissified, afraid to talk to me, sits in an office all day and can't build a campfire? Like, now you're just insignificant. And if you come up and talk to me, you're a liability. And it's not your fault. I think we need to wake up. I am a big fan of men-only spaces, and I make a lot of these videos to tell men, we need you. When men are ineffective or a liability, women get angry. Women get very angry, and I think a big reason we see these angry feminists is because there's no man anchor. There's no man that can... Men can kind of contain us, you know, like not just pin us down and fuck us in bed, but contain us. They create a structure in the world, and we've lost that structure. That's why you see men are so hungry for male leadership. What do they have? They have Andrew Tate, they have Jordan Peterson, they have various bodybuilders, but those guys are kind of lame with all their steroids. Like, men are hungry for male leadership, and they're told in school their little boyhood is not prized. That's why they don't want to go to college. Obama apparently was the one who did away with vocational school. That is a huge disservice to men. And we've outsourced our manufacturing. We've used a lot more robotics. And so there are fewer and fewer men who are able to showcase their masculinity. Physical, mental, and emotional health. To the extent that a man is sitting around playing video games and watching porn more than a couple hours a day, he's going to not be able to build up that muscle of male energy. Like my ex-husband, he would watch maybe an hour or two of TV at night, different shows, but on the weekends he was out there doing house projects. He would go for a run or play soccer or basketball in the over 50 league. He would do house projects. Like, he was always showing his masculinity to me, which, even though our sex life was bad and our romance was bad, which is ultimately why I left him, he was always manly. He could fix things. You know, he had a sense of like direction and fixing things and building things. He was a good father and a good provider, and he was intelligent. He would go to work in a dress shirt. A lot of guys are now just sitting at home in their pajamas working. I don't know. So women look for effective men, signs of physical, mental, and emotional health. And these are things that require getting up early, like in your job, being physically active, being able to lift heavy shit, being friendly and socially engaging, being able to forge social connections, leading other people. You know, getting a group of guys together for something, or getting a group of guys together for a ski trip or for a cookout, or, you know, you guys are built for that. You guys are the ones that want to ride your bikes really fast and ride over dirt, and jump over dirt, and do that risky skiing. I mean, some women do all that stuff, but mostly it's men. You guys are built for that. And to the extent that men are not challenging themselves in this way, I think they're going to feel depressed and useless. And then they're like, I'm so depressed and useless, I'm going to play more video games, watch more porn, because you're not using the muscles that you were given by biology. Your physical strength Your mental strength, your testosterone, your courage. You have to exercise that to feel effective as a man and to be attractive to women. I made a video the other day about this gentleman at the gym who actually did a bunch of stuff for me that I was so moved. I can't remember the last time a guy did something for me, and it wasn't anything big, but he took an opportunity, and since he was not a creepy guy, I could tell from his energy that he had his shit together, and he was very young, but I'm like, he's actually adding to my life. And it made me think about, how so many of you guys are commenting on my bicycle with the flat tires. A man leaving a comment about my flat tire is a liability. He's a whiner and a complainer trying to upset me. A man who's a contribution, and this would be a man in real life, it was a man I would know. He would come over and he'd be like, hey, your tires are flat. Hey, I'll pump them up. I'll put your bike in the back of my truck and we can go bike riding together. Now that man is a contribution. I want you to really listen to this. Again, I'm going to repeat this, guys. You think that you're helping me out by pointing out that my tires are flat, but your liability is, I'm teaching you, because you're whining and complaining and nitpicking like a naggy old woman. A contribution, my ex-husband would have already pumped those tires up and taken me for a bike ride. He's a real man. A real man would be like, hey, and that's what I'm kind of waiting for, like a guy with a pickup who can put my bike in the back of his car. I would love to go for a bike ride in a safe place. But the car I have now it's a sports car, and the bike rack goes on top of the car, and I can't lift my bike up there. I could get a trailer hitch, but that would cost $1,000, so it's not that important to me. But one of these days there's going to be a guy who's going to, like a young guy who's friendly and happy with his life and has good energy and gets up early with the sun and can lift heavy shit and has friends and shows signs of physical, mental, and emotional health. And he's gonna pump up those tires and put my bike in the back of his car and take me for a bike ride with him. And that man is going to be a contribution, because if a man isn't going to add to my life, why would I want him? And I'm not even asking for a guy to take me to dinner. I want him to do something for me, like the bike thing. That would be a big thing for me. I would really, really appreciate that. And I think that's what women are looking for, a guy to be like, hey, a guy to take us on an adventure, to share his energy. And when I want to say about the health part, physical health means that you get to bed early, you get up early, you get a good night's sleep, you work out. It also means you're not fat. I personally am not for those bodybuilder guys. I find them very gross. I am more for the lean, toned, calisthenic type of guys. Lean and toned, like the infantry guys in the military. A belly is a liability. If you have a belly, you're a liability. If you can't lift heavy shit, you're a liability or insignificant. You have to understand this. We are speaking biology. Now, if it comes to, I'm just trying to explain this now. Men should make their own video to explain what makes a woman a liability. I think that for women, we can see a man within 5 seconds. We can tell you whether you're insignificant, a liability, or a contribution would be you do something for us. Okay, that would be a contribution. Anything that you do for us is a contribution. A good fuck, bringing me a bottle of wine, taking me on an adventure, telling me an interesting story, making me laugh. Those are all contributions. Those are all contributions. It's not about money, but all those things, when a man does all those things, he will have more resources. It's not the resources that make him attractive. Like, you could take a lame guy and give him $1 million. Some women might like him, I wouldn't. Okay, now what makes a woman a contribution or liability? I'm just going to take a guess at it. I think that we see men right away. We can tell if these guys are effective and have their shit together. We can tell from your energy if you're creepy or we're going to like you. I think men see women as beauty objects. So for a woman, she definitely needs signs of physical health first and foremost, which means, I'm going to try to get out of the sun one moment. Signs of physical health would be a nice figure, like not fat and not scrawny, like a nice figure, like toned, hourglass figure. Okay, with either nice breasts or nice ass, healthy hair, and healthy skin. Healthy. The skin is lustrous, the hair is shiny. The way she walks, she looks happy, maybe bouncy ponytail, her hair up somehow, dressed pretty, and I would say radiant, although I like my men radiant too. But especially women who are radiant are very seductive. They just look, if they look happy. As far as relationships, physical, mental, and emotional health, I know somebody who got married to a woman with borderline personality. I know men get married to alcoholics, so I don't know. I would think that a woman ideally has her life together, that she's friendly and that she's nourishing and caring, that she's not like super loud or overbearing, that she knows when to be quiet, she doesn't gossip. I think that I do not know. I think men are going to have to make a video on what makes a woman a liability. A woman who approaches you, what makes her a liability or what makes her a contribution to you. Or maybe men look at women differently, because pretty much we're all fuck objects to you guys. You guys see us, you're like, I could bang her, I could bang her, I could bang her. That's how you guys see us. So I think it's a little different for men because we're weaker than you. We are physically inferior to you. Okay, let's just be honest. You are stronger than us. Trying to find better lighting. You're stronger than we are, and we're more risk averse. We have less courage. We have more of a drive to nurture, especially our children, to nurture the men, to nurture the relationships. I think women also have more of an interest in keeping up the home, making the home beautiful. I kind of like a man to lead. I'm more submissive. I think men like that. And I don't know. You guys are going to have to leave that in the comments. And I think that this modern society has made it possible for women to do all that. Like I went to Pilates this morning. It's all ladies there, and then I went for a run. People are here with their dogs taking a walk. I can maintain my home and do all that. I think that when women work full time, it takes them away from being able to do all those nourishing things like gather in groups with other women, take care of the home, and take care of the children. So in that sense, modern society has taken women away from all that. When I was in middle school, we all had sewing class. I sewed a bunch of dresses in the sewing class. We had cooking class. They don't do that anymore. They've really de-emphasized the importance of motherhood, and maybe that has made women angry too. I don't get why someone wouldn't want to have children. Like isn't that a biological desire to have children? I mean, I always knew I wanted children from the time I was a little girl. I knew I wanted children. And I would have kept having more. My ex-husband was like, we're done here. I loved being pregnant and nursing. I loved having my little children and raising them. Anyway, I think that those are things that make a woman attractive, is that she wants to be a mother and that she's nourishing. I will tell you that being a mother, while often it was very hard, made me more of a person. Opened my heart a lot. and made me a more nourishing, understanding person, made me a better person. When people don't have children, it's easy to just be so selfish, and I have become really selfish. I've lived alone for so long, I don't have to think about anyone else. But anyway, I think another thing that has made people less attractive to each other is a loss of community. People move around now. Jobs are not permanent as they used to be. People move around a lot. Jobs are very temporary. People don't have that same sense of security and community that they had. People have moved to the big cities where people don't really know each other that well. But ultimately, I think that men have to tell these feminists to just fuck off. Do not let these feminists tell you that you're toxic, that you shouldn't open the door. If you want to open the door for a woman, open the door. And if she has a problem with it, just laugh it off. Just let go of the door and let it slam in her fucking face if she wants to be a bitch. Or make some funny remark. Have her open the door for you. She wants to be the man. I don't know. Guys are always good at knowing what to say. You have to say something in a way that doesn't show you're irritated. You know, telling people they can't date other people at work or can't talk to people at the gym. That's just all bullshit. There's so much bullshit. I mean, it's almost like there's something in our drinks and the water that's making us all become the unigender. You know, we know that men's testosterone levels are falling and their sperm count is falling. How much of that is due to they say it's the pesticides and the plastics, but how much of it is due to men just sitting in their office all day, not doing manly shit? As a man, you should be able to go by yourself or with a couple buddies into the wilderness for a week and live in the wilderness. You should be able to do that. You should be able to change a tire, change the oil, do simple house projects. You should know how to use a hammer and a nail. You should be able to go up to women and talk to them. You should be using your physical, mental, emotional strength to make an impact on the world. That's how you're going to feel better. That's what's going to make you attractive. And to the extent men don't do that, women don't want you. You don't do that, you're a liability, and that's fine. You're still important to you, but you're not going to impact women. And like I was saying, our society has really pushes men in this direction, starting from the time that they're little boys. They're not allowed to express their wildness in the classroom with these female domesticated teachers. And I think it's worse in Democrat cities, liberal cities, where the feminists have taken over, the woke ideology has taken over, and they've minimized what women and men are by telling women they can be men and men that they can be women. It's all nuts. I think that in the red states, men are more like men still. They still know how to build a campfire and hunt, and they have a beard and they can fell a tree. You know, you gotta be able to do all that to be attractive to a woman. This is what this video is about. You don't have to, but I'm just explaining why I think people have lost attraction to each other. And it's very sissified to sit on your phone scrolling for women on an app. Like, what is wrong with you? Seriously. You know, unless you have exhausted and approached all the women in your neighborhood, at your work, at your gym, and they've all turned you down, you should not be on there. You know, they want to sissify you. Modern society, I don't think it's necessarily a big trick, but it's just has made men lazy. You can't get a woman if you're lazy. A lazy man is a liability. This is why I don't like the men on the dating apps. You're just sending likes to everyone. You're lazy. You know, I'm a bookkeeper. Men contact me. When men contact me for appointments because they think I'm pretty, they don't really want an appointment. They just see a pretty bookkeeper. They're a liability. And there are a lot of men that approach me that are liabilities, especially online, on my LinkedIn or, you know, just a liability. And so I get angry too. As you hear some of my angry videos, there's nothing worse than a man who's a liability. It makes a woman angry. If you're a people pleaser in your relationship, you're a liability. No woman is going to want to fuck a guy who's a doormat or a people pleaser, who's incompetent, who contacts a bookkeeper without having all of his information together, doesn't know when he wants the appointment. It's just wasting his energy. Liability. Guys with limp dicks, not healthy, a liability. Fat guys are a liability. Creepy guys are a liability. Guys who sit around all day and do nothing are a liability. Now, I'm just telling you, and I see more men that are liabilities than men who are making a contribution, because I'm not around them. But I see these guys, they're working today, you know, there's construction workers out. I see those construction workers, I'm like, damn, these guys are really making our roads better. They're fixing the sewer system. They're cutting down trees. I admire those construction workers. They're making a contribution. They're improving our roads. You know, they know how to direct the traffic and put the cones down. They're making a contribution. When they're cutting the trees, they're making a contribution. The men that actually make bookkeeping appointments, they're also making a contribution to my income. And of course, my sons are a great contribution, and all of you are a great contribution. I'm just speaking of, you know, in generalities, and trying to explain why I think so many women are unhappy with the whole dating situation. It's our modern society. It's our modern society. It's the school system, it's the work system, it's our ability to just sit around and not have to be physical anymore. And unless we're physical, we're not attractive. We're spiritual beings in physical bodies. We have to maintain our bodies to be attractive. You guys, men are not going to be attracted to a fat woman with no waist. If she's overweight and has a waist, she'll still be attractive. And a lot of men are unattractive because they just sit around all day. I will say Indian men are the worst because they work all the time. They have big poofy bellies, so unattractive. They have no muscle tone. It's kind of gross. Hispanic men are usually very fit. They do a lot of physical labor. They are very fit. Very fit, especially the guys that work in the trees. Oh my God, they are so fit. Like a hockey player. The fittest guys are skateboarders, hockey players, and guys who work up in the palm trees. They're jacked. We need men, and I'm just saying, like, do not let these feminists in this modern society take your manhood away from you. Do not allow that to happen. You cannot. And do not let women put you down, talk you down. Just ignore those women. Find somebody who appreciates you, because there are women who appreciate you. If you do all these things, read that book, Mate. You don't know. Join a men's group or something. Do not let these women put you down. Get out of the house. Get into the wilderness. Get out into nature. Wild nature. You got to challenge yourself physically if you're a man, especially. I challenge myself physically every day, but a man would do it more than I do. You know, I do little things every day to challenge myself in some way, but men need that more. Little boys already, they're fighting with little sticks. They want a roughhouse more than little girls. You guys need that. You guys need that movement more than women do. Women need it too, but you need it more. So I think that men who work in the physical labor professions actually are much better off. If you guys are that, you don't even know how much better off you are. Because you're actually in your body instead of sitting at a desk getting what they call lazy butt syndrome, which I have too. It's from sitting a lot, and then your glutes get lazy, and then when you walk, you're not using your glutes, and then you start getting hip pain. So it's all stuff I've had to work on. Anyway, this is going to end my video. I'm really looking forward to the comments, and I really want to know what women need to be attractive to men again. I really think that a big problem with women now is that, at least the ones on the videos on YouTube, sound so angry, are like, I'm not going to dinner unless a guy pays for me. It's just her way of trying to figure out that he's manly. She doesn't know any other way because she's caught up in this culture of men stepping back and a man thinking the only way he can show his masculinity is by buying dinner. No. You tell her, hey, we're going to go for a coffee in the moonlight, or we're going to meet for sunrise coffee. Are you in or are you out? You give her the option. Show that you're a man, that you get up early, that you get your ass to an early morning coffee, that you have good energy. And you tell her what it is. You tell her what the date is. I'll take you dancing. I'll meet you there at 7. Are you in or are you out? Don't go for this, you got to buy me dinner. You have to lead. I think that women are going to be less angry if men will just lead. And if she shouldn't be spending an hour getting ready for a date. Like, no, that's like once in a while. Like, a woman should be able to get ready in 10 or 15 minutes. I can on my hair washing day, I can be ready in 30 minutes max. Drying my hair, getting dressed, putting on what little makeup there is. Otherwise, I can get ready in 10 minutes. But I want to know what you guys think. What women need to know. And don't just say cooking, because a lot of women are working now and they don't want to cook any more than the men want to cook. If you want a woman who cooks, you should be the one providing the income, and that means you make at least $200,000 a year, $150,000 at least. Otherwise, don't come at me with this, I want a woman in the kitchen, because you can't afford it. Most of you can't afford a woman in the kitchen. You need a woman who works. That's another problem we have in our society. Women have to work, and when they have their babies, they got to take them to the industrialized daycare center. There's nothing more heartbreaking for a mom than ripping her baby away from her and having to put in a daycare center so she can go sit in a stuffy office and work on other people's projects. That is cruel and barbaric. Maybe that's why so many women don't want to have children. And we are still in a society where professional jobs for women are full-time only. There's no respect for children, for motherhood, for parents in this country. Not like in Europe. In Europe, you get like 9 months or 12 months maternity leave. The dad gets paternity leave of like 6 months or a year. They have paid child care, very high quality, free college education. In this country, they tell us that's bad because they're socialists. They're thriving over there. Have you been to Germany, Switzerland, any of those countries? They're thriving over there. Except the U.S. blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, so things are not so good right now because their energy costs have gone way up, but that's a different topic. There are a lot of factors in this country that are driving people to be less attractive to each other, that are blending the genders, that have made us lose attraction to each other, and I think we should just be aware of it, and so that we don't go further down this road. And I think that will also stop this trend of half of men under the age of 30 having had sex in the past year. Well, if you're not out in the wilderness and you're not talking to women, you've probably lost your edge, and you've become lazy. You have lazy butt, and our government seems to think that's fine because they like these complacent voters who don't have an opinion. They don't mind. They could easily do tax breaks for married couples or tax cuts for people who have children, or something, public service announcements, or require people to engage in like 2 years of volunteer work in the national parks after high school, and pay them for that to get men back out into the wilderness. They could bring back vocational school. They could do so many things. They could encourage marriage so that children have a mother and a father. They don't do any of that. They don't care. They don't care. So it's up to us to individually to bring back our true nature as men and women so that we can find each other attractive again. This is what I think. Of course, I'm a retired person. I'm in my 60s. I already had my family. Maybe things are different for young people. I know many young people who are still getting married. They're having kids. I'm talking about like the people that I'm kind of know about. These are all college educated people in this segment of society. They are still getting married. They are still having kids. Some of these women become stay-at-home moms. So that is still happening. So anyway, that's all I have for now. I will be back for the comments, and thank you for watching my video.